What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Solo Leveling Arise tier list video. That's right, we're going to be doing an updated version now that I've got a chance to fully test every single thing in this game up to endgame content. We're now adding SRs to the list, and the SSRs are also going to be adjusted a tad bit. Now, here's how this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to explain every unit. This is going to be for end game. So the original one I did was early to mid. This is now going to be end game content. So the units you want to focus on for end game. Remember, currently you cannot reset any units. Every resource you spend on them is going to be there permanently, at least at this point, right? So the importance here is to understand who do you want to focus on end game and why. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of description of each character, what they're good for, and why I place them where I place them. So it's up to you guys if you want to listen. This is my tier list. Feel free to make any comments on it as you want in the comment section as usual, or in my Discord. We can always have valuable discussions. Now remember, I'm going to give you guys early, mid, and end. End is where the result is going to be though on this list. Okay, so I'll give you guys an explanation of where they are early and mid, and then I'll let you guys know where they end up in the end game. And again, that's the placement for it. I just want to make sure we all understand how this works. So we'll start off at the SR list first. So Jiho. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. He's actually a pretty damn good break unit and also a good light unit for free-to-play players. And the fact that he drops a potion every time he pops up to give you guys 5% of your HP back is actually pretty damn useful. So I'm going to put him in the B section. He's not a bad breaker. He's actually got decent attacks. The only problem with him really is his attacks are a little bit slower on the slower side. His basic attack is nice and fast, but everything else kind of is lackluster. Overall, though, not a bad unit. Plus, you get free dupes for him anyways, right? All right, let's go to Johi. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Not a fan. And here's the reason why. There's really no place for healing at the moment in this game, okay? And even with mana regen, there's no place for that either. She has an attack up a little bit, but again, I don't find her useful. Compared to all the other water elemental units, she kind of is lackluster. Now, she looks amazing. Love her legs, not gonna lie, but she's an animated character, and I gotta talk about her skills. If it was looks, she'd be SS for me, but we're talking about actual skills. So she's gonna sit in the bottom rung. She's not LOL yet, but she's close enough, okay? Now, let's go to the next unit, Song. Now, Song is actually gonna be B tier as well. He's not bad. In the beginning, he drops off like heavily, but the only good thing about him is he does do extra damage to non-boss monsters. So if you have a pack of monsters, a lot of AoE requirements, he actually does kind of fill that niche for free-to-play players for a little while, but he's somebody you definitely don't want to focus on. There's a lot better units out there than him, but early on, he's not bad, and he's literally the only fire element you're going to get for quite some time, unless you pull for Choi and you got yourself a copy of Emma, right? You guys can see here, the rest of the SRs don't exist for fire, so he does have a special spot in that regard for SRs. And it's funny because there's a lot of water SRs, but there's only one SSR that's water currently. So they've done the same thing with fire. There's more fire SSRs than the regular SRs. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of those added into the game as the game grows. Okay, let's go on to Kim. So Kim's one step above Jinho, in my opinion, has much better offensive moves, also increases defense quite a bit, and he scales off of that, so that's a good thing as well too. He actually provides the whole team a shield, so overall a better character in my opinion, but not by much. I'd say like just a tad bit, but I would put him at the bottom rung of the A's, but still not a bad support unit or tank overall to have for survivability and keeping you guys alive. All right, let's go to Kim. Kim is also going to be C. God, he's so bad. He's so bad. You know what? I almost want to put him at LOL, so let's just put the first LOL unit. If you can avoid focusing on him, do that. He's a break unit, but his skills are just god awful. They're really slow. They're clunky. His ultimate's really bad. Unless I'm missing something, I've used him at a max level for my free to play and my pay to win account, and I've just, as soon as I get somebody else as a breaker, he's instantly gone. So I would not focus on him at all. And I know he's a wind unit, but you have better options for wind anyways, okay? And we'll talk more about those units as we go. Let's go with Ana Ruiz. Ana Ruiz definitely gets an A here, way better than Kim. She is meant to be poison. She's all about poison and binding. Now, the beauty of her is if you eventually, this is again long-term, either short-term for whales or long-term for free-to-play. If you can possibly get her to A5 at some point in your life, she does 100% more damage with her poisons, which can stack up to 10 times, and poison scales off of her attack. She can actually be very, very deadly later on, especially in even endgame content where I'm using her now, where I'm beating like 242,000 power units using her and someone like Kang. So she's absolutely like amazing at what she does. So highly recommend her. Speaking of Kang, I'm going to put him up here right away. Here's the reason why. Kang's bleeds are nuts. His damage is incredible. He himself is actually a really fast unit, good attacker, has range, and overall, that bleed is nonsense. The only thing bleed doesn't work on is world bosses, and that's currently the dragon boss. So with taking that out of the equation, he's one of the craziest SR units, and people should absolutely focus on him. Not to mention he's a dark unit, so those are rare to get in this whole list. So definitely, guys, put some effort into him. He's definitely worth the effort, okay? So Nam is another one. I'm going to put her in S right now. Personally love her. Freezes all day long. Scales off of HP, so she's super tanky. She can also break, and she's actually pretty damn good at DPS too. So I'm going to put her in S. She's really, really good CC character. Great for Cerberus. Good for any fire levels or good for any AoE levels that you require, and anything that requires some form of CC to stop attacking. Amazing support. Good ultimate. Overall, great skills. So she's definitely worth the investment. I would highly recommend. As a water unit early on, she might be one of your best ones for the SRs for sure. Okay? Going over to Joe. I'm going to put him in A. The reason why Joe gets A here and it doesn't really get a lot of love is the fact that his range kind of sucks for his attacks, but his support is, he has a burn. He has burns all over his skills. And to be honest with you, actually, you know what? I'll put him in, I'm going to put him in A. The reason why is because those will really help early on, early game. Late game, he drops off to A. Like early game, I put him in S. No, actually, keep him in A. You know what? No, let's put him here. I think this is more fair, actually. B. I'm thinking about it now because mid game to early game, he's really good. He'd be an A, but then for end game, you probably won't use him as much anymore. So he's probably a B. So we'll leave him there. But he does have a decent kit. If you get his ascensions or his advancements, his skills become more powerful. They have more range and they cost more MP, but overall they do more damage. So he gets more powerful as you advance him. But if we're looking at an overall picture, I think this is probably where he would sit. Let's talk a little bit about the other park here, the dude. We'll put him in, I'm really debating here, C or B. He's got good damage for a wind unit. He's just super, super slow, and he doesn't really have any effects outside of just doing more and more damage. And I think he provides a shield as well, if I recall. So we'll put him in C for now. Not a very good unit. You guys can see most of the C's here are going to be wind, or the winds aren't looking too good. Huang Suk, I think, is going to be an A. He's actually really damn good. Every attack he does, increase pretty much almost all of his core skills will increase his max HP. He does a lot of damage for a dark unit tank. He also does really good breaks, and he scales off of HP as well too. So I would actually put him over. I would probably put him here actually. Maybe even end game I put him there, just because he actually does survive quite a bit and does dish out quite a bit of damage. So again, that's probably where I'm going to sit him there. I forgot her name. One sec, guys. What is her name again? I use her, but I forgot her name. It's Jinwoo's sister's friend. There she is. Han Sung-yi, that's right. Okay, so she's got a unique skill. She's got poisons. Okay, let me go to her skills for a sec. She's got poisons, and she's got something called umbral weapons, where she just tosses and places like little weapons on the ground that people can go across and get hit. Her actual DPS is not the greatest, but she does dish out fast DPS and does do poison. So with her poisons and her abilities to do knockdowns and her passive, which creates a shield and increases her crit rate and crit hit damage, she's actually not a bad character to have once you start duping her. But I don't think she's as good as Anna overall. Personally, I think Anna's got a better setup and kit going for herself. So for her, let me just go back to the tier list. I'll probably put her same tier as Anna, but one below, a little bit below in terms of her actual utility, okay? And then lastly, Park SS, for sure, 110% deserves that. I've been using her for everything, and she's been absolutely a monster for it as well too. Just so you guys are aware why she's so strong. Number one, her skills based off of attack, so that's nice. She does have a really good two-winded attack here as well too. She's got herself wind shear here, which is like a tornado that brings everybody together like a vacuum, and then this air cutter here, which actually does a amazing thing, which is increases your power gauge, which is your ultimate bar, right? Once you get her support skill, you can see here also provides you breeze and takes away your debuffs. This increases your ultimate skill by 15%, and your debuffs on your team members also get removed. So no poisons, no burns, whatever the case may be, all gone. Whatever it is, doesn't matter, right? Attack down, defense down, doesn't matter. It's all gone. So that's the beauty there. And then this over here just does overall damage. Her ultimate is incredible, and her passives are so So damn good, guys. Decreases the cooldown of Windstorm. When you get her up even further, she gives more power gauge to the whole team no matter what skill she does. The damage of Windstorm is increased by 30%. That's her ultimate. And then when the battle starts, she starts off with 100% of her bar at A5. So overall, guys, even from an A0 perspective, just absolutely a killer when it comes down to having her as a support or a regular character. So one of my favorite SRs for sure. So definitely focus on her. If you plan to get copies of her, you're set for quite some time. All right, now let's go over to the actual SSRs, okay? So let's talk about a few of them. Start off with Wu. Not a fan, so he's going to be A. I'll put him right here, obviously, because he's a bit better than everybody else. In regards to the SSRs, or sorry, he's the worst SSR in my opinion, but he's better than a lot of the SRs, obviously, right? So he's a breaker, DPS, melee, horrible support in my opinion. Always never hits a damn target, which is unfortunate. And also just has really low range and low DPS for what he is. But you do get a copy of his ultimate weapon and his arms. Let's go to the next win here. Dongsu's actually pretty good DPS, not gonna lie. He's good overall, but he's just not stellar, which is kind of his problem. Now, if we go to him real quick, I'll show you guys what he does. The biggest thing that he provides you guys as a character is the ability to remove shields, which is a very unique thing that nobody else, I believe, has in the game at the moment. And essentially is anytime you fight a boss with a shield or anybody who has a shield, he just takes it down and brings it to 0, so you don't have to deal with shields at all, right? He does have, like I said, decent win DPS overall. You guys can see he does do knockdown, and when the skill hits, it removes the target shield. So anybody who's fighting like the Golem boss in the battle trials, stage 10 for example, if you have him early on, just bring him. Shield's gone. You don't even have to deal with it, right? He does inflict airborne. He does have the ability to stun, so he's got a couple of good utility moves for him. He does do a lot of damage with his ultimate, by the way. And then obviously with here, you can also stack up his defense up to 5 times and infinitely. And then here you can have Urge to Kill, which will also reset the cooldown. So when applied this for the first time, Urge to Kill is enhanced, the damage is doubled, and the cooldown resets, just so you guys are aware of that. And then he's got other really, really good mechanics, but you got to get a lot of copies of him in order for him to really, really shine as a unit. Now, he does, of course, scale off of defense, so keep that in mind. So make sure you build him as a defense spec. And also his basic attacks are pretty powerful as well, so keep that in mind. So he's overall a good unit. He just unfortunately has one niche to him that is good. It's just not enough to put him up at the top echelon, okay? So let's start off with the SSs, okay? I'll start from the bottom to the top at this point. So for endgame, Min is too good. I know mid game I put him down lower. Min is crazy good at endgame, not only because of the fact that he gives you an insane buff, he also does plus 15% damage on the boss or whoever you're attacking at the point, so increases your overall damage output for 20 seconds, but also with his ultimate, if you build him with crit damage spec, that's right, a healer with crit damage spec, any excess crit damage goes towards your entire team, making your team's crit damage hit even harder. The only downside to that is he doesn't work with Choi, because Choi doesn't have crit, so it's kind of useless, but everybody else like Jinwoo and everyone all benefit from him. So top tier support unit for sure in the game, okay? Next up is going to be Emma. Emma does fall off a tad bit endgame in my opinion, because it's all about massive single target DPS for the most part, but she still has a place in clearing stages and is one of the best ones to do it, so definitely SS for that. Also just crazy breaker and tank and DPS at the same time, but again just falls off a tad bit, but works really well with Choi as a overall unit to boost his fire damage significantly, right? All right, next up is going to be Byack. Best breaker in the game for sure. Best breaker, hands down. So we were having some arguments here about like mid to early game, and I told people like I put him in S for that because there really wasn't a big breaking wasn't really a huge deal because Jinwoo took care of most of those problems. But later on in the game, you absolutely want him in there for any type of breaking. Plus, he's one of the best DPS tank units in the game, scaling off of defense. Now his HP is a little bit lower than everybody else because he does scale off of defense, but he is harder to kill because of that. But easily one of the best breakers in the game, and definitely deserves top tier classification for that as well too. Next up is going to be CO. CO here is, in my opinion, the biggest underdog that people aren't using. I made a showcase for her already. Unlimited skill potential, incredible damage, sexy as hell, and not to mention the only SSR water unit and destroy Cerberus when it comes down to farming. So do not sleep on her. Make her one of your top units for sure, and she will shine, okay? The next two is up to debate. Lim or Borali. They're pretty much tied. Borali is better in terms of overall DPS because she scales off of attack, crit, and crit damage, and has like unlimited potential for boosting her damage output because of that crit damage. The problem is crit damage is hard to get, right? So, but all of her skills are incredible. Plus, she gives it an awesome support with for all dark units. If you sit in the circle, you do more dark damage. So Lim and her are like a pair made in heaven for that, okay? And Lim has the best ultimate in my game because he does 8 arrows, 8 times, can go up to 10k damage easily without the crits. And if you add crits to it, it's even more. Scales off of dark damage, attack, and is a breaker, and has a built-in dodge mechanic 3 times where you can just core skill around without having to use a dodge and get away from opponents. So easily, I would put him actually still one step above. And then lastly, I'd say the best in the game right now is going to be Choi. Choi is still right now, as it stands, the best DPS in the game, for sure. Whether it's the fact that he doesn't need crit or crit damage, his attack is increased by 40%, his burn mechanics, his crater with his A1, his ultimate is like bonkers amount of damage. Both of his core skills are great, and overall just is a monster DPS. And I know a lot of people were arguing about Emma versus him. Endgame guy's not even a competition, to be honest with you. At this point, Choi just takes the cake by far. So there you guys go. That is the full tier list for characters. I have done the full testing that I wanted to do. I put numbers up. I put no equipment or no artifacts on people, tested them out that way. I put artifacts on people, tested them out that way. So these are the best finds that I found in regards to this. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this as well too, guys. Remember, there's no wrong answer. As much as you guys may think there is no wrong answer. So I want you guys to kind of give me your experience, where you guys think the placements are, if this is accurate to you, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.